All right, let's jump into Google Ads in Australia, specifically the costs and, figuring out if it's even a good fit for a small business.
It's a big question. A lot of people are asking that.
Exactly. And today we'll unpack all of that.
Awesome.
We'll use this blog post you sent over from Now Technology Systems. They're an Australian web design and marketing company.
So obviously they want people to use Google Ads, right?
Right. They've got skin in the game.
Yeah.
But the article is a solid starting point, I think. It covers the basics pretty well.
Yeah, definitely. And it's interesting how they address small business concerns right away. That's smart,
Oh, for sure. It makes it feel way more relevant. So before we dive into all the details, let's just clarify. What exactly are Google Ads?
Well, you can think of it as this massive network, right? Google Search, YouTube, tons of websites, millions of apps. And Google Ads is like the platform that lets businesses pay to advertise across all of that. It's about getting in front of potential customers, people who are already looking for stuff just like yours.
So it's like digital real estate.
You got it. It's like buying a spot to show off your business right where people are already searching.
And just like real estate, location matters.
Right.
And so does cost.
Right.
Which brings us to that big question. What's it going to cost me? The article's pretty upfront that there's no simple answer.
Yeah, it's definitely not a one-size-fits-all situation.
Not at all.
No fixed price tag.
Okay. So what are those major variables then? What affects the cost of Google Ads in Australia?
Okay, one of the biggest things is your bid amount. That's like the max you're willing to pay every time someone actually clicks on your ad.
So is that like setting a daily budget? Or is it more like each click has a potential cost?
Yeah, it's more about the cost per click. It's called CPC. And you set the maximum. Google often charges you less than that, but knowing your max CPC helps you stay in control. But your bid isn't the whole story. Google also uses something called a quality score.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of that, but it's always sounded a little mysterious, to be honest.
It's basically Google judging your ad. They're looking at how relevant it is, how good the quality is. They're checking if your ad copy matches what people are searching for, how engaging the ad is, even how relevant your landing page is.
So it's not just about throwing money at the problem. You need a good ad.
Exactly. You have to make a good experience for people who actually click on it. And here's the best part. A higher quality score can actually lower your costs.
Wow.
Yeah. Google rewards you for making ads that people actually find useful.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. You want good ads, not just spammy clickbait. What else affects cost?
Competition is a huge one. Like if you're in a super competitive industry, say legal services, insurance, expect to pay more, a lot more.
Really?
Yeah, legal and insurance are notorious for having crazy high CPCs.
So costs can vary a lot then, depending on your industry.
Absolutely. The article mentions that, legal and insurance can hit $40 or more per click, but less competitive industries, it might be just $1 or $2.
Wow, that's a huge difference.
It is. It just shows how important it is to, do your research.
Yeah, understand your industry. See what the competition's like.
For sure. And then there's ad extensions. Those are extra features you can add. Location info, phone numbers, links to pages on your website.
Okay, so they make your ads more noticeable.
Yeah, more noticeable and potentially better performing.
Okay, so lots to think about with cost. I'm still a bit hazy on how the bidding actually works, though. You mentioned CPC, but how does Google decide how much you pay per click?
It's like a live auction, You put in your max bid, but Google uses this algorithm to figure out the actual cost. It considers your quality score, how much others are bidding, and a bunch of other stuff.
I see. So it's not as simple as saying, I'll pay $2, and that's what it is.
Nope, not that straightforward. That's why managing Google Ads can be tricky. You've got multiple types of campaigns, each with their own strategies for bidding.
Okay. So we've got the factors that affect costs. We've got the bidding basics down. Let's talk about budgets.
Yeah, budgets.
How do you, as a small business owner, figure out a realistic budget for Google Ads?
You know what? Before you even start crunching numbers, the article really emphasizes defining your goals. What do you want to achieve? More website traffic, more phone calls, leads. What is it?
Because without that, you're just throwing money at it.
Exactly. No direction. Once you know your goals, then you can research what it might cost to get there.
Okay, that makes sense. So goals first, then what? How do I set a Google Ads budget?
They recommend looking at your competitors. What are they doing with their Google Ads? What keywords are they targeting? Maybe even try to figure out how much they're spending.
Okay, but how can a small business owner do that? That sounds pretty time-consuming.
That's a great point. And you're right, it can be. But There are tools and resources out there that can make it easier. We could do a whole separate deep dive into that. But just know it's possible to get a good idea of what your competitors are up to without spending hours and hours on research.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say I've got my goals, I've done my research, I have some idea of what my competitors are doing. How do I actually set a number, a budget I'm comfortable with?
They're big on this start small, scale up approach. Test the waters with a smaller budget first. See what happens, what works, what doesn't, and then gradually increase your spending as you get more data.
That sounds way less risky than just going all in right from the start.
Right. And Google Ads actually has built-in budget controls, so you don't overspend.
Okay, that is reassuring. But let's be honest, most small business owners are super focused on ROI.
Right.
How do you make sure you're getting the most out of your Google Ads budget?
That's where the strategy really kicks in. One major thing is picking those relevant keywords. You want keywords that people are actually searching for, but you don't want them so competitive that you're battling a ton of other businesses, driving up the cost.
So it's a balancing act.
It is. You need enough searches to reach people, but not so much competition that it gets super expensive.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. Then what?
Then you need to make sure your landing pages are good. When someone clicks your ad, they need to land on a page that's, clear, tells them what to do next. A page that matches what the ad promised.
It's all about a smooth experience, right?
It is. You don't want people clicking then just bouncing right back to Google because the landing page wasn't what they expected. And a good landing page can actually improve your quality score.
Oh, right.
Which can lower your cost. It's all connected.
So what other things can you do to maximize ROI with Google Ads?
Geotargeting. That's a really good one. If you're a local business, you can focus your ads on specific places within Australia. So you're only paying to reach people who are in your area, more likely to become customers.
That's smart, especially for a brick and mortar store or a service that's very location specific.
Yeah. And then A/B testing. That's when you test different versions of your ads to see which ones actually work best. You might try different headlines, descriptions, images, even different calls to action.
So it's all about constantly improving, using real data.
Exactly. And Google Ads isn't something you just set up and forget. You have to keep an eye on it.
Speaking of keeping an eye on it, how do you track how your campaigns are doing? What should you be looking at?
That's where Google Analytics comes in and the reports you get within Google Ads. These tools give you tons of data that can show you how many people are clicking, how many people are converting, like actually buying something or filling out a form.
So it's about using data to make good decisions and keep improving. It sounds like a steep learning curve.
It can be. And that's why some businesses work with marketing agencies or Google Ads specialists. They can manage it all for them. It's a lot, especially for someone already running a whole business.
It's a lot to handle. Makes sense to get help if you need it.
Absolutely. But even if you DIY, remember, knowledge is power. The more you know about Google Ads, the better choices you can make.
Right. No need to become a guru overnight. But having a basic understanding helps.
For sure. Now, one more thing I want to mention. The blog post mentions search network and display network, but there are other types of Google Ads campaigns. It's good to know what those are.
Oh, good point. Yeah, let's break down those main campaign types so people know what's what.
Okay, let's start with search campaigns. These are the ones that pop up on Google's search results page. When someone searches for something specific, a keyword, boom, there's your ad.
That's what most people think of when they hear Google Ads, right?
Probably. And they're great for catching people who are actively looking for what you offer.
Makes sense.
Now, display campaigns are different. These show up on websites and apps all across the Google Display Network, millions of sites.
So not just on that search page.
Right. These are more embedded in websites and apps, and they can be really visual, images, even videos. They're good for building awareness, reaching people who might not be searching for your thing right now, but who might be interested.
So search is for people actively searching, and display is for introducing your brand to more people.
You got it. Then you've got video campaigns, specifically for YouTube.
YouTube is huge.
Huge. Video campaigns are a great way to show off your brand personality, tell your story.
Okay, then shopping campaigns.
Yep, those are for online stores. They show up on Google Shopping, on those search result pages, and also on the display network. They're all about showcasing products, images, prices, reviews, the whole 9 yards.
Sounds very targeted.
It is. And lastly, app campaigns.
Makes sense. For promoting mobile apps.
Exactly. Those can run on all sorts of places. Google Search, the Play Store, YouTube, and the Display Network.
Okay, so that's a lot of different campaigns. How do you choose the right one? Seems like there are a lot of options.
It depends on your goals. What are you trying to achieve, and who are you trying to reach? That's key. If you're all about driving website traffic, then search campaigns might be your best bet. But if it's building brand awareness, then display could be the way to go.
So you have to think about your overall marketing strategy.
Absolutely. And honestly, the best Google Ads strategy often uses a combo of different campaign types, reaching different people, achieving different things.
I see. So you're not limited to just one.
No, you've got options.
It sounds like you really need to understand your audience, your goals, and all those different campaign types.
You do. It's more than just setting it up and letting it run. You need a strategy. You need to constantly optimize, make adjustments.
So we've covered the Google Ads basics, the factors that affect cost, those different campaign types. Where do we go from here? What should our listeners be thinking about as they move forward with exploring Google Ads for their business?
That's a perfect transition to the next part of our deep dive, where we'll dive into practical stuff, setting budgets, making the most of your ROI, and how to track your success.
That's the nitty-gritty, making Google Ads actually work for your business. I'm excited to unpack all of that.
Remember that analogy from the blog post? The one comparing Google Ads to having a digital billboard?
Yeah, that was a good one. It really paints a picture.
Right. Billboards are all about getting your message seen, grabbing attention. But with Google Ads, you can target your audience so much better than with a traditional billboard.
It's not just putting it out there and hoping someone notices. You're putting it right in front of the people who are actually interested.
Exactly. It's all about reaching the right people at the right time with the right message. And that makes a huge difference, in terms of cost and getting results. You're not wasting money on people who aren't going to care.
So if I'm thinking about my Google Ads as a digital billboard, what makes a good one? What should I be focusing on?
Okay, well, first of all, clarity is key. Your message has to be super clear. Think about what you want to say in just a few words. What's that one key takeaway?
It's like that elevator pitch.
Exactly. You only have a few seconds to grab someone's attention and make them remember you. So just like an elevator pitch, your digital billboard needs to be short, sweet, and memorable. Use strong words, maybe some powerful imagery, evoke some emotion, connect with people.
So it's not just about stating the facts.
Nope. It's about telling a story, even if it's a really short one. Storytelling is powerful, even in advertising.
Okay, so clarity, storytelling. What else is important for a good digital billboard?
Visual appeal is huge. You want something eye-catching, something that stands out. Think about your colors, your fonts, the images you use, how it all comes together.
It's like creating a piece of art that represents your brand.
Exactly. It should be visually appealing and well-designed, something that reflects your brand and speaks to your target audience.
So it's not just throwing some random text and images together.
Right. Now, here's the really cool part. Unlike a regular billboard, your digital billboard can be interactive.
Okay, that changes things.
Yeah.
How do we make our Google Ads interactive? What can we do?
You can add things like call to action buttons. Encourage people to visit your website, download an app, or buy something right then and there. You can even use forms to collect leads or gather information from people. And gamification, that's a fun one. Make your ads a bit more playful.
So people aren't just passively looking at the ad. They can actually do something.
Exactly. That's the power of digital. You can drive conversions, get leads, build relationships with potential customers.
Okay, so we've got clarity, storytelling, visual appeal, and interactivity. Now, let's talk about the practical stuff, budgets and ROI.
The blog post makes a good point. You've got to start with understanding your goals and your target audience. What do you want to achieve with your Google Ads, and who are you trying to reach?
Right, we talked about that before, but it's important to remember, if you don't know your goals and who you're targeting, it's like you're just wandering around aimlessly.
Exactly. Once you've got those figured out, then you can think about how much you want to spend, your budget.
So how do you actually set a budget that, makes sense for your goals and gives you the best return on your investment?
Well, the blog post recommends starting with what you can actually afford to spend. Look at your overall marketing budget and see how much you can realistically allocate to Google Ads without, breaking the bank.
It's about finding that balance, right? Spending enough to get results, but not overspending and putting a strain on your finances.
Exactly. And once you have a rough idea of your total budget, you can start dividing it up.
Dividing it up.
Yeah, splitting it between different campaigns and ad groups. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket.
Right. So you're not just putting all your money into one big campaign. You're spreading it out strategically.
Right. And that's where your keyword research and your understanding of your target audience come in. You'll want to spend more on keywords and audiences that are more likely to get you results, leads or sales.
So it's all about prioritizing your spending.
Exactly. And it's worth considering the different bidding strategies that Google Ads offers. They give you different ways to control your spending and your bids.
This is starting to sound a bit complicated.
It can be. But don't worry, there are tons of resources and tools that can help you. You don't have to figure it all out on your own.
Okay, good to know. So I've set my budget, I've done my keyword research, I know who I'm targeting, and I'm starting to understand these bidding strategies. What else can I do to maximize my ROI, to get the most bang for my buck?
One of the things that people often overlook is optimizing their landing pages. Remember, when someone clicks on your ad, they land on a specific page on your website.
Right, the landing page.
Exactly. And that page needs to be designed to convert. It needs a clear message, a call to action, and it needs to be easy for people to use.
It's about guiding them towards the action you want them to take, whether that's buying something, signing up for something, or requesting more information.
You got it. A well-optimized landing page can really boost your conversion rate, and that means you're getting more out of your ad spend.
It all ties together. The better the landing page, the more likely people are to convert, the higher your ROI.
Precisely. Here's a tip. Don't be afraid to try different things with your landing page. Test different headlines, calls to action, images, layouts. See what works best. Google Ads and Google Analytics give you tons of data to help you understand how people are using your landing pages.
So you can keep tweaking things and making them better.
Exactly. Always learning and improving. Now let's talk about tracking. You need to know what's working, what's not, and what you can improve, right?
Yeah, that's where those reporting tools come in.
Right. Google Ads and Google Analytics give you so much data. You can see your click-through rates, your conversion rates, all sorts of stuff.
But where do you even start? It can be overwhelming, all those reports and numbers.
It can be. That's why it's important to focus on the metrics that matter most for your goals. If your main goal is to get people to your website, then track those click-through rates, see how many people are seeing your ads. If you're all about leads or sales, then you'll want to focus on conversion rates and how much each conversion is costing you.
So it's all about aligning what you're tracking with what you're trying to achieve.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to play around with different reporting tools. Find a setup that gives you the information you need to make good decisions.
It sounds like there's a lot of trial and error with Google Ads.
There is, but that's part of the fun. The more you experiment, the more you learn, and the better your campaigns will get.
I like that attitude. It's all about learning and getting better over time.
Exactly. Even with all the tools and strategies we've talked about, Google Ads can be tough to master.
Especially for small business owners who are already juggling so many things.
I know, right? And that's where the blog post ends with a little bit of a sales pitch. They suggest that businesses might want to get some expert help managing their Google Ads.
Well, that makes sense. They're
Yeah.
saying, hey, if this all feels like too much, we can help you out. We can take care of it and make sure you're getting the most out of your advertising budget.
Yeah. And while they obviously want your business, they do have a point. Sometimes getting help from an expert can save you time, money, and a lot of headaches.
So it's something to consider, especially if you're feeling overwhelmed or if you just don't have the time to manage everything yourself.
For sure. But even if you decide to do it yourself, remember, the more you know, the better. The more you understand about Google Ads, the better decisions you can make.
Knowledge is power. It's true for almost everything, right?
Absolutely. So, to summarize, Google Ads can be a really powerful tool for businesses, but it's not a magic solution.
It takes work, planning, research, and you have to keep an eye on things.
You do. And even then, there's no guarantee of success.
But if you understand how costs work, if you set realistic goals and budgets, and if you're constantly optimizing, your chances of getting a good return on your investment go way up.
Absolutely. And hey, you might even create a digital billboard that really blows people away.
Okay, so as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of Google Ads in Australia, let's kind of summarize. What are the key takeaways here? We started with that blog post you sent from Now Technology Systems, and it was a good starting point. But we've gone way beyond that now, haven't we?
Yeah, we really have. We talked about all those factors that affect how much Google Ads cost, and then we dug into those more strategic things like bidding strategies, different types of campaigns, all that good stuff. What are the most important things you think we learned?
For me, it's all about relevance.
Mm-hmm.
That just kept coming up again and again. It's not just about getting your ad out there. It's about getting it seen by the right people at the right time. and with the right message. And that all comes down to good targeting. Using the right keywords, making sure your landing page actually gives people what they expect when they click your ad.
Totally. The right message, the right audience at the right time. That's marketing gold. And Google Ads lets you be really precise with all of that.
Yeah, you really can. It's funny, even though we focus a lot on the cost of Google Ads, what really struck me is that it's about so much more than just spending money.
It is. It's about making a strategic investment in reaching the people who are most likely to become your customers. And just like any investment, you have to do your research, have a good strategy, and manage it carefully if you want it to be successful.
So true. Okay, so for our listener out there who might be feeling a little overwhelmed by all of this information, which I totally get, there's a lot to take in, what's the one piece of advice you'd give them as they start exploring Google Ads?
I'd say don't get scared off by how complicated it all seems. Start small, try different things, and be ready to learn along the way. You don't have to be a Google Ads expert before you launch your first campaign. Just dive in and start experimenting.
Yeah, that takes the pressure off. It's an ongoing learning experience.
It really is. And remember those reporting tools we talked about? They're there to help you. They give you data so you can make changes, make your campaigns better over time.
So as we send our listener out into the world, armed with all of this knowledge about Google Ads, what's one final thought you'd leave them with?
Let's go back to that digital billboard metaphor that the blog post talked about. It was a good analogy, but I think it's even more powerful than they realize.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Well, think about it. A regular billboard is static. It just sits there. But Google Ads are interactive, and they can be personalized. You can target your message to different people, different keywords, different demographics, different times of day, different places. You can really get granular with it.
It's like having a billboard that magically changes based on who's looking at it. Pretty cool, right?
Exactly. And that opens up so many possibilities. So the question I would leave our listener with is this. If you could create a digital billboard that people could not only see but also interact with, what would you do? How would you use that interactivity to engage people, to bring them closer to your business?
I love that. It really pushes you to think beyond just the visuals and think about how you can create a truly engaging experience.
And that's what's so exciting about Google Ads. It's always evolving, always pushing the boundaries of what's possible with digital advertising.
Well, on that note, we'll wrap up this episode of The Deep Dive, our deep dive into Google Ads in Australia. Thanks for joining us, and good luck with your Google Ads adventures.